Florida's anti-protest law is one of the farthest-reaching laws in the country. Joining me now to discuss, former Democratic Congresswoman from Florida, Debbie Mucarsel-Powell. Debbie, I'm just going to get your reaction to this supposed anti-riot bill.
No, I mean, this actually sends chills down my spine, Alicia. This is an incredibly dangerous bill that is really inciting more violence here in Florida. And it puts a chill on the desire for people to peacefully assemble and exercise their First Amendment rights. We know that Governor DeSantis introduced this bill back in December as a reaction to people demanding justice after the George Floyd murder that we experienced. And what this reminds
stop
me
right
of,
there, because you and I might be familiar with it, but I actually want our audience to take a listen to what Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said this week after the George Floyd verdict came down. Take a listen.
I don't know what happened with this verdict, but if that's something that can potentially happen, where you basically have justice meted out because the jury is scared of what a mob may do. And again, I'm not saying that's what happened here, but certainly to think that somehow that is going to influence how the rule of law is applied, it would be a total disaster if that idea takes hold.
He's not saying it's what happened here. He's just suggesting that the verdict may have been because the jury was scared of a, quote, mob. I mean, what do you make of that?
He is putting fuel to the fire. He is sowing more distrust between law enforcement and the public. That is not what we need. What he needs to do is really, instead of following his political ambitions and using this as a political tool to rile up his base, he needs to listen to families here in Florida, Alicia, who are experiencing higher levels of gun violence, for example. I mean, we are over-policed and underprotected. And at the same time, he is right now trying to silence the voices of communities of color. It's really dangerous to think that a mother of a Latino boy has to worry every time he steps out the door that he could be killed by gun violence. And by law enforcement, unfortunately. Now, what we need to do is work on building trust between law enforcement and the public. Like Patty said, we already have laws in the book here in Florida that protect law enforcement from violent acts against them. Now, let me just explain very quickly for those that are watching. The definition of a riot is so broad that it could be that Patty, Alicia, and myself are walking on the street demanding equal pay for Latina women. And if there's a fourth person that joins and throws a rock to a business, we can all be arrested. We are not let out on bail until our voices are heard on the court. And it will affect our records. It could affect our records because now it's not going to be a misdemeanor. It's now criminalizing any offense. And if there was a driver on the street that felt threatened, they could have run us over, killed one of us, and he would have been held without any sort of liability. This is extremely dangerous. We only see laws like this in Cuba, in Venezuela. We cannot allow Governor DeSantis to rule in this matter here in the state of Florida.
I do want to ask you, I have about 30 seconds before we have to go. What does this all tell you about the efficacy of the protests we've seen across this country?
Well, you know, it's obviously threatening for the GOP. They are trying every way to silence our voices. Instead of trying to win with policy, they are trying to really target and harass those that oppose their policies. Alicia, our democracy, I've said this before on your show, our democracy is really holding the line here. It's at stake, and we need to pay attention. We don't need DeSantis in running for presidency in 2024. He must be defeated in 2022. He absolutely should not be holding any public office when he's trying to incite violence and allow people to commit murder without being threatened.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.